Mr. Speaker, I'm pleased to yield 5 minutes to a member of the Ways and Means Committee as well as the Judiciary Committee, the distinguished gentleman from Alabama, Artur Davis.
The gentleman is recognized for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Ackerman, for yielding, Mr. Speaker. Approximately 24 hours from now, this House will bring this debate to a conclusion, and it will vote. And the vote, based on everything we expect, will be an overwhelming one. It will include people from the left of this House, the right of this House. It will include people from both political parties. It will include people who supported this war and who believed in it 5 years ago. And it will include those who have questioned it from its inception. And there is a reason for this consensus, Mr. Speaker. There's broad agreement on several things in this House. There is broad agreement that we have been caught in the crosshairs of a civil war between two sets of radical Islamic fundamentalists, neither of which shares our values. There is broad agreement in this House that the human and material cost of this effort has gone too high, and there is broad agreement in this House that the moral obligation is not to put 21,000 more soldiers into harm's way, but to do the opposite and to begin the process of pulling our men and women out of this cauldron that is now Iraq. And there is broad agreement on one other point, Mr. Speaker. It is this, that the President of the United States is wrong to say that it doesn't matter to him what this Congress thinks or what this country thinks. I'm reminded, Mr. Speaker, I'm one of the younger members of this House. I was in college a bit more recently than some of my colleagues. I had a very esteemed professor back in the 1980s named Richard Neustadt, who wrote about the American presidency for a number of years. And one night he invited all the freshmen in the class to come over and to have a dialogue with him about the future of the presidency. And a number of us said to him, Mr. Neustadt, what do you fear about the presidency of the United States? And it's interesting what he said, and it's relevant today. He said, I don't fear that someone corrupt will become president one day. I don't fear that someone incompetent will become president. There are too many guardrails built in the system. The process is too exacting for that to happen. But this is what I fear, he said, that one day someone will come in that office who is absolutely convinced he's right about something on which he is absolutely wrong. And he said this, that if the country is frightened enough, if we're in enough danger that enough people may think that what is rigid is what is strong. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Speaker, several of my colleagues on the other side of the aisle have said that this resolution carries no weight, no legal or moral force. I will tell you the weight that this carries, my friends. 24 hours from now, 65% of the members of this chamber will send a signal to the American people that we have heard their voices. That is a powerful thing. When I think of all the people in this country who sent a clear signal last November 7th that they were not heard. And I end with this point. A number of my colleagues in this debate, our adversaries in this debate, have said that there's a group in Washington. There's a group of people on the left. Some of you say there's a group on the other side of the aisle who want to defund or who don't somehow have the strength, the fiber to support our troops. I remind you, my friends, your disagreement is not with the Democratic caucus. It is not even with the 50 or so in your ranks who will vote for this resolution. It is a disagreement with the 65% of this country. It is a disagreement with the people in my very conservative state of Alabama, 60% of whom now think this war is wrong, and who say to me, Mr. Davis, why on earth have we taken side in a battle between radical Islamic fundamentalists? Why is a blood feud between Shia and Sunni worth the spilling of American blood? They're the ones you're saying are wrong. They're the ones you're saying lack strength. So, Mr. Speaker, I simply end by thanking my colleagues who had the good judgment to be right about the futility of this war from the outset, by thanking the colleagues who were wrong 5 years ago and are right today, and by asking one last thing. The President of the United States, who brags that he's watched none of this debate, if he could only hear just one plea from this debate, that he listened to some fact, some evidence, Because, Mr. Speaker, this is the problem that we face with this president. No set of facts, no set of truths can tell him that he is wrong. Tomorrow, this chamber will tell him so. And I yield back the balance of my time.